This special podcast is brought to you by Futuregrowth Asset Management, and I'm speaking to Smital Rhambhai, who is the product manager of the Community Property Fund. And I'd encourage you to look back at the podcast around the Property Fund to explain exactly what it does. But today we're just going to speak about the related development around the rural shopping centres that Futuregrowth has developed in certain areas. Smital, we've been chatting and you've told me some fascinating stats around the spin-off that comes out of the shopping centre. So it's not just the fact that people get jobs in the shopping centre and that you develop it, but there's a whole bunch of upliftment that Futuregrowth focuses on within those areas.
Okay, so we had a discussion around the fact that when the shopping centre is built, it creates jobs pre-construction and as well as post-construction, because the retailers will employ people from the direct community. But we took it a step further to see how much actual jobs are created within the community, and I asked the centre managers to collect data around each retailer and how many people come from the direct local community. And the stats came out that 84% of the employment comes from the direct local community that the shopping centre services.
That is amazing. So 84% of the people that work within the local and national retailers come from the local community, and the centre manager and staff, where are those from?
Yeah, so interestingly, the number's exactly the same. It's 84% that come from the direct local community. So centre management staff would be the actual centre manager, the centre administrator, as well as the cleaning and the security staff.
And surely these people don't come with the skills that you require. How do you make sure that they're fit for purpose?
Okay, so I'll use the centre manager as an example. We always employ a centre manager from the direct local community, because it's quite important that we have a liaison who that understands the local community as well. There's often a language barrier as well. As we've got 11 national languages, so you need someone to understand the local language. But a lot of these centre managers might not necessarily have the skills to run a centre, and we actually, together with Capital Land, who's our property managers, we've got a program that actually trains them up to be highly skilled centre managers. So at the end of the day, they could walk out of there and actually go and run Sandton City. That's how efficient this program is.
That's fascinating. Have you moved any of your centre managers around to train each other, or how does it work?
So our service providers, Capital Land, that manage our properties, we had in their portfolio, they had a centre manager in KZN that ran a smallish shopping centre around 10,000 square meters, and we saw her potential, and we've then decided to move her to Bridge City Shopping Centre, which is our shopping centre, which is about 40,000 square meters, and she'll be training under the head centre manager. And we feel that over just over a year of training, she'd be able to take over the shopping centre fully.
And let's talk a little bit around building the shopping centres. There must be a lot of job creation when the centre is actually built, but those skills may not necessarily be in the community. And you're obviously bringing in contractors from outside. How do they work with the community?
Okay, so currently there's it's always good to use examples. There's one in Tulamashi, which is up I think it's about a 2.5 hour drive from Nelspruit in Mpumalanga, and we were busy putting up a fence around the shopping centre, and the fence, we normally would use contractors from Gauteng, because they there's highly skilled guys, and they sometimes bring their own labour force, and we had a bit of backlash in the past with local communities. And when I joined 2.5 years ago, I said, let's try and see whether we can actually use the local labour force to do the work. So what we're doing currently is we're getting a main contract that's quite experienced from the likes of Gauteng. They would then subcontract to the local contractors in the community, and also then teach them how to put up these fences, because some of these fences you need a certification that you are skilled to do it. And we at the moment engaging with these main contractors to actually skill the labourers, so that they can walk away with a certification that they are able to put up these fences. And the contractors we are also employing, the main contractors, they will make sure that they'll take the labourers to the doctors to make sure that they're fit for work as well, so complying with all health regulations as well.
Well, that's really great work in the community. I know that one of Future Growth's other visions is around education, and education drives in these communities. And when we were speaking earlier, you said that there's a drive to pay for certain learners' school fees. How does that one work?
Okay, so what we realize is that we have a duty to drive education. We've got 24 shopping centers. So what we did was we looked at looking at 2 or 3 schools, depending on how many schools are in the area. But we're looking to support up to 3 schools for each shopping center. So we want to drive education. We realize the best way to do that is actually to do a type of academic prize sponsorship. So the top student in I would say standard 4, which is grade 6, and the top student in grade 11, which is standard 9, we pay for their final year, which is obviously matric or grade 7. Yeah, I know it as standard 5. So we'd pay for their final year, and in those rural areas or townships, if you look at those school fees, I mean they could be up to 1,000 rand maximum. And for us, as a fund, it's a small price to pay, but that takes the community a long way. So I mean, imagine putting that back into that learner's family's pockets, for spend.
That's the Future Growth Community Property Fund doing some sterling work in communities through social upliftment and development. Smital Rhambhai, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Candice.